Srila Prabhupada boarded the Jaladuta to go to America. So very, very auspicious day for us all. So I was asked to churn the ocean of Balaram's pastimes a little more. Then at 7 o'clock this morning I found out I have to speak about the Prabhupada boarding the Jaladuta. So we'll speak about both of these things today. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Lava Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Prajanarandana Yashodanandana Prajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Sodanandana Brajanandana Yashodanandana Brajanandana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Sri Radha Madhava Ki Jai Nitalila Vishnu Mishtapada Savine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananda Gauri Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhana Ki Brajabhumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Sri Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir Ki Srila Prabhupada's departure for America Ki Jai Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotee. All glories to the assembled devotee. All glories to the assembled devotee. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi. Hare Krishna. So as I said, this is a very special day. It's the day after Balaram Purnima, and also it's the Tithi upon which Srila Prabhupada departed from Calcutta for America. So we'll speak a little bit about that, and then since yesterday was the appearance of Balaram, we'll continue churning the ocean of pastimes about Sri Baladev Prabhu. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Tapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Didati Svavadandigam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatirvasta Kipasindhu Vacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Also, another reason it's a special day today. In all the Saptadevalaya, the 7 Goswami temples, this evening there'll be special darshans in all of them. In Madan Mohan, we'll see Radharani as a king and Krishna standing below with his sword and shield guarding her. And she's standing like a king with her tucked between her legs, so we can get darshan of her divine lotus feet. Then in that's Madan Mohan. In Damodar, we'll see Krishna dressed as Sham Sakhi. In Radha Sham Sundar downtown, we'll see Nauka Bihar, boating pastimes. In Radharaman, nothing special, but Radharaman's darshan always very special, especially these days. And Gokulanand will see Raval Rai, Radharani also dressed as a king. And in Gopinath we'll see Ban Bihar, enjoying in the forest. And in New Radha Govinda we'll see Subal Vesh, Radharani dressed as Subal with a little silver calf in her arms. So all these special darshans are there this evening, not in the daytime, in this evening time. Hare Krishna. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Satarini. So we hear from Leela Mrit, Prabhupada had two main objectives on his mind. One was to get the first 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam printed, and second was somehow to get to America. And which wasn't easy. As we know, Prabhupada had very little money. Somehow he was just eking out existence and somehow selling his magazines and getting a little money. And somehow he managed to get his passport. Then he had finished his first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam. He went to Bombay and he met with Mrs. Sumati Morarji from Scindia Steamship Company, who was a very pious Vaishnavi. And somehow she promised to pay for the first volume. Then later he got second and third volume. And then he had one friend in Agra named Gopal, I forget what his name was. His son's name was Gopal, wasn't it? So he said, your son should send a sponsorship letter, just to get an American visa and get permission to leave the country and so many things. He needed a sponsorship letter. So Mr. Agarwal had done this for so many, and so he sent to his son. His son wrote his letter. Prabhupada got his letter, and then he had to chase down something called a P form. I don't know what that is, but in those days it was very difficult to leave India. You needed some P form clearance from the Home Ministry, which wasn't easy. But he managed to again go to Bombay and again pursue all of these different matters with the government. And then there's one friend in the Scindia Steamship Company, Sumati Morarji's secretary, Mr. Choksi. So he told Mr. Choksi, you please ask her to give me a free passage on one of her cargo ships. Scindia was a cargo ship company, quite large. I believe they had 80 different boats or some ships or something like that. And Mr. Choksi presented that sadhu from Vrindavan is here. He wants to go to America. He wants free passage. And Mr. Morarji, no, he's too old. What is he going to do in America now? He's going there to die, you know. And he kept insisting that Mr. Choksi go again and again. And then he came another time, and again Mr. Choksi went. Again she gave the same answer, that's not proper for Swamiji to go, he's too old. Then finally he was exasperated with Mr. Choksi. He said, I want a personal interview. So then he got personal interview, and he came and he told same thing to Srimati Murarji, same thing she told Swamiji, you are too old and it is too cold. And Prabhupada insisted, no, it is my mission, I must go. But somehow or other, Krishna moved her heart and she granted him free passage. Not only granted him free passage, but in the first class cabin, which was actually her own, if she ever traveled on the ship, there was a suite, about 3 different rooms. It was like one big room, but divided up in 3 areas, and attached bathroom and so many things. So finally that was settled, but the ship was leaving from Calcutta, and books were being loaded because it was cargo company was a different department, so that was books were being loaded on in Cochin. After they left Calcutta, they'd sail around the tip of India and then go to Cochin and then leave for America. So finally Prabhupada went to Calcutta. Well, somehow he managed to book. He managed to book all his books. I think there was 10 trunks of books on India Steamship Company. Then he went to Calcutta, and one Goswami from Advaita Acharya's house in Shantipur, he remembers that some elderly sannyasi came and was praying before the deities and crying. And later, he saw, many years later, somehow he saw a foreign devotee started coming to visit Advaita Prabhu's house. And he was shocked. And one of them gave him a Bhaktigata, and he looked in the Bhaktigata and he saw Prabhupada. He said, I know him. He used to come here regularly. And he came here one day, he was crying and crying. And then he understood that was just before he left. He went to beg Advaita Acharya's mercy to come and save all of us. So when he left, hardly anybody was there. Just his son Vrindavan and a few other people, well-wishers, and Prabhupada walked up the gangplank. The Jaladuta was a very old ship, black, completely black. Jaladuta means the messenger on the water. So it was a very auspicious name. But one gentleman that he had stayed with in Calcutta thought this is newsworthy. Swamiji is going to America. So he took Prabhupada to the newspaper office, got an interview. We've seen that nice picture of Prabhupada, and they wrote an article about Swamiji going to America. It became a news article. So then hardly anybody was there to see him off. And we can't imagine, 70 years old now, we've passed that 5 years ago. We can remember back 70, we can't imagine. Now we go in nice 777s and A320s and so many things. But to go on 70 years old and go on a boat, 35 days it took. We can't imagine. And not knowing what will happen, now we go, and by Prabhupada's mercy, somebody's there to receive us. Sometimes there's kirtan party also at the airport to receive us. We have a nice place to stay. Everything is taken. This is Prabhupada's special mercy. The Father never likes to see the son struggle, so he makes special arrangements. So Prabhupada's made special arrangements for us. But he himself, he just walked up with his little suitcase with some cereal. He had no idea what he was going to eat in America. He was prepared to eat boiled potatoes if that's all there is. And he had some cereal, because that will last for a long time. He eats some cereal and an umbrella and few other things. That was it. But the cabin was very nice. And then they finally set sail. And first place they went all the way down to the bottom of India, and they got to Colombo in Sri Lanka. Those days it was known as Ceylon. So the first place that Prabhupada's pure divine lotus feet touched outside of Bharat was Sri Lanka. Because Colombo, Captain Pandya, he was very pious gentleman. That's why Sumati Maharaji made him go on this Jaladuta, because he knew the captain was very pious and would understand the needs of a vegetarian passenger and a very special passenger. So he took Prabhupada ashore in Colombo, and they walked around and saw the things. So Prabhupada's lotus feet, first place outside of Bharat was Sri Lanka. And then they went to Cochin. And Prabhupada watched this big crane loading up his books onto the Jaladuta. And then they set sail. And I read recently an interview with Dr. Pandya. He said, yes, Prabhupada's room was right next to my room. And I saw that he was having lots of trouble. He was getting, in the Bay of Bengal also he got seasick. In Cochin also, after they left. Well, when they got to Cochin, that was very special. It happened to be Janmashtami fell on that particular day when they arrived in Cochin. So Prabhupada had a program. We called all the crew and everybody and all the officers and everyone, and they had a little program, and Prabhupada had cooked some prasadam. He distributed prasadam to everybody, and this way they had and he gave a nice lecture about Krishna's appearance. Everyone very reverently listened to Prabhupada's lecture. So Mr. Pandya also remembers he had this nice function, and everybody, most of the crew and all the officers, we attended. It was a very nice function. And then again, as they were traveling toward the Suez Canal, then again Prabhupada he said Swamiji was again becoming very sick, and so many things, and some days he would be all right, some days he was sick. Finally, they went through the Suez Canal, and they got to a place called Port Said, which is right after just as you leave the Suez Canal, there's one place in Egypt called Port Said. And Mr. Pandya, this is it's not in Nilamrit, but this is an interview with Mr. Pandya. Prabhupada asked him, please book a ship for me back. I can't continue like this. Pandya had no idea that Prabhupada had a heart attack, but Prabhupada describes that he had a heart attack. He said, I must go back. I cannot take this. He said, no, Swamiji, you'll feel better. Don't worry. You have your mission. Somehow Pandya encourages him. Let's go ashore. You get some fresh air. You'll feel better. So he took second place. Prabhupada's divine lotus feet touch was in a Muslim country. Very auspicious. Prophetic. So Prabhupada took him ashore. They walked around and saw the things, and Prabhupada felt better. And then he decided, yes, let's continue. So somehow they continued on, and when they got to the Atlantic, then Mr. Pandya said he was very much afraid, because generally the Pacific Ocean, that's why it's called Pacific, means peaceful. So Atlantic Ocean is always very not so peaceful. But he said that passage with Swamiji, I had never seen the Atlantic Ocean show such a calm face. And Prabhupada even had a dream that Krishna was rowing a boat, taking him to America. he had a dream Krishna was there massaging his heart. He understood Krishna wanted him to go. And Krishna was there. Even the captain's wife said, I want Swamiji to come back. I never saw Atlantic like that, so if we can take him back, it'll again be smooth sailing. So somehow first they arrived in Boston to leave off some cargo. And again, Mr. Pandya took Prabhupada. Well, of course in Boston he had to go through all the immigration and this and that and everything. And the guy, he had 3 months visa, and the guy stamped with the date that he had to depart by. And then Mr. Pandya took him around the city, and he saw America for the first time. Then he was just amazed. These people are completely in the modes of ignorance and passion. How will they understand? So he wrote that very famous poem there in Markine Bhagavata. What is it called? Something like that. Where he expressed his doubts, but then he expressed his full faith that somehow or other, I'm just a puppet, make me dance. I've just danced according to it, or make me dance, make me dance. Somehow or other you can make my words special so that it will affect their hearts. And he signed it. We heard this morning, the most insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami on board the Jaladuta in Boston Harbor. So then after a couple of days they sailed to New York, where he was to get down. And like I said, nowadays sometimes we have a kirtan party to receive us, or devotees come to the airport with a nice car to take us to the temple. But just there was a representative of a company called Travel Aid that helps especially foreign people with their journeys in America. So somebody from Travel Aid was there to meet him, that's all. Nobody was there, no kirtan party, no nothing, just Travel Aid. And first he took him to the Scindia booking company. He thought maybe he'd like to book his return ticket. And Prabhupada talked to them a little bit, said, I will, be in contact with you. Then he took him, put him on a bus, and Prabhupada left for Butler, Pennsylvania. So today is this auspicious tithi on which Prabhupada left and came to America to save completely useless fallen souls like ourselves. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I was also asked to churn the nectar of Baladev's pastimes. So we'll sing a little bit. Nice song with Krishna's name in it, and Dauji and Balaram. Because Balaram is older brother we call Dao. Therefore, everywhere you see him, Braj Dauji Mandir. पार करेंगे नैया रे बजो कृष्ण कन्हैया पार करेंगे नैया रे बजो कृष्ण कन्हैया. Par means to cross. We're going to cross over this ocean of Kali, this dangerous ocean of Kali, and our Neyare means the boatman, and our boatman is singing the name of Krishna Kanhaiya. Balaram is the older brother, he's Dao, so little brother is called Kanhaiya. So Par, just like now Mathura has spread to the other side of the Jamuna, so they call that Jamuna Par. पार करेंगे नैया रे बजो कृष्ण कन्हैया पार करेंगे नैया रे बजो कृष्ण कन्हैया पार करेंगे Naiya Re Bhajo Krishna Kanaiya. Krishna Kanaiya Dauji Kabaiya Krishna Kanaiya Dauji Kabaiya Bansari Bajaiya Makana Churaiya Giri Baruteya Giri Baruteya Gaya Chareya Rasalateya Par karenge Naiya Re Bhajo Krishna Kanaiya. Bolo Krishna Kanaiya Lal ki, Bolo Sri Dauji Maharaj ki. So yesterday was Balaram Purnima. The Purnima of Shravan month. Next is Bhadra Purnima. So book your Srimad Bhagavatam sets. It's auspicious to donate a Srimad Bhagavatam set on Bhadra Purnima. Coming up next Purnima, Bhadra Purnima. And sometimes people say Balaram Jayanti. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has written that actually Jayanti refers to when the moon is conjoined with Rohini Nakshatra, and it's an Astami, 8th day of the bright half of the moon in the month of Bhadra, which is Krishna Janmastami. So that refers to that particular tithi. Although nowadays it's become fashion. There's, Gandhi Jayanti, this Jayanti, that Jayanti. He said even you can't say Nrsimha Jayanti. It's only that particular configured Astami Tithi, moon in Rohini Nakshatra, and Bhadra month. It's Balaram Purnima, Balaram Avirbha, Balaram appears day. And we're celebrating on the Purnima, this is according to Srila Jiva Goswami. Because we'll see 2 days before Radhastami, all over Braj they will celebrate Balaram's appearance. This is according to Garga Samhita. But Srila Jiva Goswami has described using various pramans how actually Balaram appeared on the Shravan Purnima day. Then 8 days later, on the Krishnapad Astami day, the dark half of the Bhadra month, on the 8th day, Krishnastami day, then Krishna appeared. And it's described how we know that Devaki and Vasudeva, they were thrown in jail by this Kans, and 6 of their children were killed by this evil Kans. We can't imagine what an evil character. We don't want to imagine what an evil character he was. And these 6 children, we heard the other day, they were the sons of Marichi, and they were our very dear friends. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, and Matsarya. Lust, anger, greed, and enviness. All our best friends. Because all of these things, in order for Krishna to appear in the heart, then all these 6 enemies of the soul have to be kicked out. So then when 7th pregnancy was coming, then Krishna called Yogamaya. And he addressed her, "Hey Bhadra, oh auspicious one," because he's going to give her a very difficult service to do. So he wanted her to know, "Don't worry, I will give you the Shakti, I will give you." He said, "Hey Bhadra, don't worry." Because he's going to give her a very heavy service. She has to take this seventh, who's none other than Sankarshan, Balaram. And we know Sankarshan, he's holding all the universes on his heads. You have to carry him to Rohini's womb in Gokul. Because he had sent Rohini for safety to Gokul. So she has to carry that person who's holding all the universes on his head. He has to carry her across the Jamuna. So she may have some doubt. He said, "Hey Bhadre, don't worry, I will give you the energy." When Guru gives order, he also gives the energy to be able to follow that order. And so then she transferred, because he was attracted, just like we know Krishna comes from the word akarshan. So Sankarshan, he was attracted to the womb of Rohini, so his name will be Sankarshan. And he will be very strong, his name will be Balabhadra. And he will give pleasure to all his family members, so he'll be known as Ram. And one time Radha Govinda Maharaj explained to us, there's one very great Vaishnava named Hari Suri who has very wonderful realizations. He's written commentaries on Bhagavatam. So he describes that actually Krishna gave all the names, because we may get doubt. Balaram is the older brother. But we know Balaram's the first expansion. He's coming from Krishna, so how can he be older? So we may get doubt. That is Balaram's the original or Krishna's the original? So just what we see whenever somebody's named, it's senior persons who give the name. Grandfather, grandmother, mother and father at least anyway, some senior person. So Krishna gave all the names just to calm our doubts that he's actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Balaram is his expansion. So in this way, everybody understood in the palace that Devaki's seventh pregnancy was a miscarriage. And Dauji stayed in the womb. Gopal Champu of Jiva Goswami says some incredible amount of time. We can't imagine, 9 months is enough, but it was something like 13 months or something. Then finally on this Shravan Purnima, he appeared. But Jiva Goswami describes in Gopal Champu, he was just, he didn't cry, he didn't move. You know, we see babies, so as soon as they come out, you know, everyone's very happy. Father's very happy, all the relatives are very happy, child is born. But if we interview the child, what he thought about the whole event, this is one of the miseries of material existence, birth. We don't remember, but it was a miserable experience. So usually they're pretty active when they come out. But he was just like this. But whenever she would go to Nanda Rani's house, and Nanda Bhavan, just like we have this beautiful Nanda Bhavan here, then when Yasoda would hold her on her lap, because in her belly was Krishna, then immediately he'd become very lively. And as soon as he'd go away, boom. Then after 8 days, when Krishna appeared, then Balaram became very lively. So as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we follow that Balaram's appearance is on the Shravan Purnima. And we don't have time to go into all of Jiva Goswami's arguments about that. So we were researching for a book about Braj Leela, about Govardhan Leela, and we found many, many interesting things. In fact, there's a beautiful pranam mantra for Dauji. It's in a section of Brahma Puran called Balaram Pranam. And first we have to get our extra eyes. The ball of our eyes is gone. So this is Balaram Pranam from Brahma Purana. Namaste Haladrigrama, Namaste Musalayuda, Namaste Rivati Kanta, Namaste Bhaktavatsala, Namaste Balidam Shrestha, Namaste Dharanidhara, Pralambare Namastute, Namaste tu, Trahimam Krishna Purvaja. Obeisances to you, O holder of the plough. Obeisances to you, O wielder of the mace. Obeisances to you, O darling of Revati. Obeisances to you, O kind-hearted benefactor of your devotees. Obeisances to you, O best of the young. Obeisances to you, O upholder of the earth. Obeisances to you, O enemy of Pralamba. Please protect me, older brother of Krishna. Purvaja, who was born before Krishna. Purvaja. So we just heard one of Balaram's weapons is the mussel. Now usually, because English is not a very transcendental language, Sanskrit is so beautiful. English is not meant for transcendental technology. So we think mussel means like a big Hanuman club. But actually mushal is a special instrument used for husking the rice. Although Balaram also knows how to use the gada, this Hanuman type of club, because he taught Duryodhan, but his weapon in Braj is a mushal. A mushal looks like, sometimes you'll see, because we melted down our Hanuman club and gold-plated, I think that was Vishramba Madhav Maharaj donated, and it's shaped sort of like a pregnant baseball bat. And then it's got a little place narrow like this where you put your hand, and then they put the grain, the rice, with a husk on, in a hole in the ground, a little depression in the ground, and then it's very big, like I said, like a pregnant baseball bat, so it's heavy, bam, 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 and all the husk comes off. Because the husk, that's useless. Useless means anart. Because that husk is just like an end of Kartik, all the rice is ripe in the fields. And I know in the wintertime they all grow wheat, and the wheat you take out one of those little grains and pop it out, and it's so sweet. So one time on Braj Prikama, we were going through the rice field, so I took some fresh rice and also tried to eat it. But that husk, he's got these little barbs that go like this, so it goes only forward. It doesn't go backward. You can't get it out of your throat, you know. You don't want to try the fresh rice like that. You need to knock off that husk, which is useless, anart. Arta means something very valuable, so anart, useless. So this is Balaram's position. He has to get rid of all of our anarts. Therefore he's got this mushal. So he's called Mushaldhara, who holds this mushal. So he gets all of the anarthas out of our heart. So he's Adi Guru. So, because this is Guru's business, to get rid of our anarthas, to make the heart a nice place for Krishna to come. Because now our heart is filled with all these useless things. So many thorns are there, that how Krishna can stay in such a place. Not possible. So this is Balaram's actual weapon. You'll see sometimes this nice gold-plated mushal is there with Balaram. And you'll see all over Braj when you see he's got this nice mushal. So yesterday was Shravan Purnima. So there's another Purnima in the springtime called Gaur Purnima. So one of those Purnimas, Gaur Purnima, is also called Spring Basant Purnima. It's also, and nowadays we call Gaur Purnima. It's also known as Holi Purnima. That's when Holi is played. So Krishna and Balaram, they all went to Govardhan, to a very nice place called Shamban. After you pass Kusum Sarovar, then a little ways ahead, you'll find there's a building there called Santnavas or something like that. And then across the street, there's a little pathway. You have to know where it is. There's no sign. And you just follow that path, and then you'll see there Govardhan just starting to appear. Before you get to Govardhan, then you go to that whole area is Shamban, and then you come to a place called Ratna Singhasan. So in this place, Krishna and Balaram, it was Holi Purnima, the moon was very bright, it was filtering through the leaves, it was making beautiful designs on the ground, and the birds were singing, and the bumblebees were buzzing, and beautiful atmosphere was there. So Krishna and Balaram, with their respective gopis, they began to play Holi. Each with their separate, out of the reverence for their different moods. Balaram was with his gopis and Krishna was with his gopis. And they were singing and dancing, and everyone was lost in ecstasy, singing and dancing and singing and dancing. So, and they were going in different parts of the forest. They went different directions. And Balaram, he had one golden earring that was dancing on his cheek, and beautiful turban on his head, and he was drinking baruni, so nice baruni, honey wine, and his eyes were rolling, and he was showering his gopis with color. The gopis were showering him with kumkum and singing and dancing, and Balaram was enjoying like anything, and they would make him sing and dance according to their whims like this, and they were playing. And Krishna, meanwhile, he was playing with his gopis, and they were singing very sweetly, but Krishna defeated their pride by playing on his flute. His flute playing was so sweet, it defeated the pride of the gopis. Then as they were wandering through the forest, this way and that way, they came to a beautiful place called Ratna Singhasan. And there, somehow or other, both parties met. Krishna's gopis, they attacked Balaram and showered him with color. And Balaram roared and chased the gopis away. Then Krishna, he gave a wink to his gopa friends, and they attacked Balaram's gopis, and they all ran away. Then all the cowherd boys, they attacked Balaram and just doused him and doused him and doused him with red kumkum powder. And Krishna said, wait a minute, how you guys are ganging up my brother? This is not nice. Please don't gang up my brother like this. So all the cowherd boys stopped. And then there's so beautiful description of Balaram. In a whirlpool of emotions, Baladev's complexion assumed a ruddy hue to appear like a diamond pillar embraced by red lotuses. Baladev looked as elegant as a mountain of white lotuses covered with a forest of pink lotuses, inhabited by Chakravart birds. He appeared like a pillar of white ice, reflecting the red rays of the setting sun. And he appeared like the full moon, also tinged with red like this. And seeing their beloved like this, Balaram's gopis surrounded him and amused him with blissful singing and dancing as they all wandered off together. So the different parties, they went their different directions. Then, suddenly, one demon appeared. His name was Shankachuda. And he had a very, very beautiful gem on his turban. Very bright, shining, very brightly shining gem. And he had been a servant. He was actually a guard of Kuvera, but he had become degraded. So he was rejected and he became a demon. And he saw Krishna and Balaram. He thought they were just ordinary cowherd boys enjoying with these beautiful girls in the forest. They thought, no, these beautiful girls, why should they exchange loving pastimes with just these cowherd boys? I'm a huge, great demon. So he began to chase both sets of gopis. And Biswanath Chakravarti Thakur says he never touched them, but he took a big stick and frightened them toward the north. And then the gopis began to cry, "Oh Krishna, oh Rama." Because in Braj, when we talk about Ram and Krishna, we're talking about Balaram and Krishna. "Oh Krishna, oh Rama, please save us." And when they heard Krishna and Balaram, they picked up big sticks and began to chase after Sankachuda. And Sankachuda, he saw Krishna and Balaram running at him, just like all-devouring death. So he immediately left the gopis and began to flee as fast as he could run. So Krishna, he told Balaram, "You take care of the gopis, I'll take care of this guy." And Krishna ran so fast, it appeared like his feet didn't even touch the ground. And poor Sankachuda, he was huffing and puffing. Finally, his whole body was shivering. He couldn't run anymore. And within no time, although he had a huge lead, Krishna diminished that lead very rapidly. And it came up to Sankachuda. And then he thought, because he was going to take that jewel, he said to take it from a dead body is not very auspicious. So he smashed Sankachuda in the face in such a way that the jewel was knocked off of his turban. So then Krishna picked it up. He didn't have to take it from his dead body, he picked it up from the ground. And then he returned to Ratna Singhasan, where Balaram was keeping all of the gopis. And everyone saw, especially all the gopis, saw this beautiful jewel. This was actually a Shamantaka jewel. Shining like the sun in Krishna's hands. And all the gopis were thinking, "Oh, Kanhaiya is going to give it to me. No, Kanhaiya is going to give it to me. No, Kanhaiya is going to give it to me." So he came there in the presence of all the gopis. He gave it to Balaram just so there wouldn't be any rivalry between the gopis. But later Balaram, he gave it to Madhamangal and said, you give it to Radharani, because Balaram also has this great love for Srimati Radharani. So he told Madhamangal, you give this to Radharani. So in this way, this was a beautiful pastime of Balaram. It's expanded. It's there in Srimad Bhagavatam, but many of these details come from Ananda Vrindavan Champu of Kavi Karnapur. So in this way, yesterday was this beautiful day of Balaram's appearance. The young girls of the community, they put on such an incredible play. It was just like being there with Krishna and Balaram and all the gopis and everything. It was so wonderful. So if anybody has any questions, we'll try to answer them. We'll put our voice to rest here. Hare Krishna. All right.
Not too transcendental, but Vasudeva, the husband of Rohini, he was in prison, in constant prison for such a long time, and in the 70s he was taking Yogamaya from Yashoda to Rohini. So wouldn't people in Gokul be thinking, well, how did Rohini get pregnant? After the husband's in prison, and
I know people always ask this question. I don't know any answer to it. Somehow
I told him too. I said, ask Deena Bandhu.
Srila Swami said, always the householders ask this question. Anyway, somehow the Vrishvasis accepted it. And it's funny, because Rohini, she was both in Braj and she was in Dwarka. And whenever she's in Dwarka and she talks about Braj, then all the queens get so upset. Why are you talking about that old thorn forest? We see in Vrindavan so many thorn trees are there. Especially there's one tree called Karil. And you won't find one single leaf on this tree, only very thin green twigs and very, very sharp thorns. So they all say, why are you going to talk about this old thorn forest, And the poor guy, he was a little hungry. He took a little butter. They chased him with sticks. They tied him with rope. Why do you even talk about this horrible place? He said, you stayed there with these cowherds and they brainwashed you with their milk and yogurt. You talk all these useless things. Somehow the Vrishvasis, they accepted it.
I have a very mundane question, and that is, you said there were 6 sons and there were 6 enemies, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, forgot the others. Could you repeat what those were? Kam, Krodh, Lobh, and the other 3?
The 6 enemies. What were the 6 enemies?
Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, and Matsarya. Kam is lust, Krodh, anger, we know. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, greed. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh is illusion, and yeah, what's that? Pride. Okay, well, so madness sometimes, like mad. And Matsarya is envy. This is our favorite one, envy.
Prabhupada also said, from the Vyasa-san, he looked at me one time and said, in the spiritual, Prabhupada one time in Las Vegas, no, Los Angeles, he looked at me from Vyasa-san and he said, in the spiritual world, envy is a kind of praise. Yeah, in spiritual world, people are envious. Oh, she loves Krishna so much. This is transcendental envy.
And Hanuman had transcendental anger. We can use that also in Krishna's service. He used it in Lord Ram's service. Because all these things are transcendental. Yes, in the back we have a question.
Thank you, Prabhu, for such ecstatic diving into the Leela of Krishna and Balaram. I know that there must be a greater reason for why Krishna is black and Balaram is white. But I was wondering if you could maybe shine some light on that, if there is any specific reference or Leela regarding. Why is Krishna black and Balaram white?
I really don't know. I've never heard a discussion on this. I just know when they went to Ujjain, they were disguised themselves as just ordinary brahmacharis who were going to join Sandipani Muni's Gurukul. And Sandipani Muni was sitting there, it said, like Brihaspati in the assembly of the stars. He was sitting there with so many other great Brahmins and sadhus. And they saw Krishna and Balaram coming from a distance. And they began to speculate about them. They said, it appears like the clouds of two different seasons have appeared together. Just like we see now, it's Shravan season, all the clouds, we've been watching these big black clouds and remembering how Krishna looks just like a black cloud, you know. And in Kartik, we'll see all the clouds are white. They've rained out all their water, all the clouds are white. The clouds of two seasons that come at one time. It appears that the sun and the moon have arisen at the same time. But somehow or other, this guy is blackish, but somehow or other, that sun is becoming pale in his presence. Ordinarily, we see the presence of the sun, the moon is pale. Sometimes we just barely see the moon in the sky. But this one fellow, he's blackish, but he's so shining, he's making the moon become, he's ruining our analogy. They described like this. And when they approached, they bowed down and shouted out their names and their father's name. But to keep people off the track who they really were, they said, we're the sons of one Vasu. Vasu means jewel, one jewel of the Yadu dynasty. But just by saying Vasu, we can understand Vasudev. Just like our dear Topa president, he loves to call me just Deena, but you understand Deena Bandhu. So he said, so we're Vasu, we're sons of one Vasu of the Yadu dynasty. Anybody else has an answer to this question? I don't. Yeah.
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, towards the end of the 23rd chapter, says, thus in Bhagavatam, the Vishnu Purana, in Mahabharata, there's a reference to Krishna and Balaram being incarnations of black hair and white hair respectively. It is stated that Lord Vishnu snatched two hairs, one white and one black, from his head. And those two hairs entered the womb of Rohini and Devaki, members of the Yadu dynasty. Balaram was born from Rohini and Krishna was born from Devaki. Thus Balaram appeared from the first hair and Krishna appeared from the second hair. It was all foretold, all the asuras who were enemies of the demigods would be cut down by Lord Vishnu, by his white and black plenary expansions, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead would appear and perform wonderful activities in connection, and one should see the Laghu Bhagavatamrita. But here it says Rupa Goswami, he refuted this argument about the hair incarnation, and his refutation is supported by Baladev. So people make up stories and ideas about that. But Krishna just wanted to be black and Balaram's white.
So this pastime of Ujjain, this describes how the wonderful deity in Dallas is called Kalachand, because he's moon, but he's blackish, and he's more bright than the sun. So he's Kalachandji. So another question is there.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for the wonderful class. So I was just curious, was there any specific reason that Krishna decided to kill Shankachurna and not Balaram?
What was the question?
Was there any specific reason that Krishna decided to kill Shankachurna and he did not ask Balaram to kill, he asked Balaram to take care of the gopis? Why? I was just curious.
I don't know, just Krishna wanted to kill Sankachura for some reason.
There was some pastime relating to that. I was just wondering. In the past.
I just know that Balaram, Bal, not Bal, Bal is just like Bal Krishna, little boy. Bal is strength. So Balaram, he's strong, so Krishna told him to protect the gopis.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So there's no other questions. We can all fall down at the very soft and wonderful lotus feet of that great personality who risked so many things to come to America to save us. Srila Prabhupada ki